The 2026 Palisade comes with a ton of new features. One of the coolest has to be the built-in dash cam. I'm Zach here at Birchwood Hyundai in Winnipeg, and I'm going to tell you about how to use the dash cam, storing footage, starting records, and all of that. So let's get into it. Before we hop in here, I'm just going to show you where the dash cams are actually located. So your front dash cam is mounted up here at the top of the windshield, right next to your lane assist camera. And the rear dash cam is going to be just here above our symbol in the center of our rear window. You can't see it right now, but you'd see a blue light there blinking if it was turned on. First up, we're gonna get into manual recording and time lapse. For manual recording, we're gonna use the button that's up here that has a little camera on it. So once we turn on, that manual recording is gonna continue recording footage until we shut the vehicle off, open the dash cam menu, or we reach the maximum for our allotted time. The next thing that you can do with that manual recording button is start a time lapse. The length of the time lapse will be determined by your settings for it, which we'll get into a little bit later on. But I just wanted to go over the fact that you can start a time lapse, and that would generally be for if you're wanting to record over a long period of time without using up as much space on the SD card, since it will be recording at a lower frame rate. And we're going to start that recording by just holding that button down until we see the message on the infotainment screen saying that a time lapse recording has started. And you can stop that time lapse or manual recording the same way you started, just by pressing or holding down the dash cam button up on the headliner. So now getting into some of the automatic features, we're gonna go access the dash cam menu, which is on our infotainment screen. Starting from the top, we have a little bit more broad, and then it gets a bit more specific. So you have all these options to the left on the screen over here, and you have a little start recording button just next to them. If we're on while driving, it'll just continuously record while you're driving. On while parked is gonna be a maximum of 20 hours. Below that, we have motion detected while parked, driving events, and parked events. Now, our next menu, this is the manual recording area. So from earlier when I started a couple of recordings, you see our two videos there. So you have manual record, then time lapse here, and then the My Videos section. This is where you'd be able to review stored footage as well. Now our last menu is just a live feed. Now the next thing that we're going to do is get into this further settings for the dash cam. So for that, we're going to go into our setup menu, which should be familiar with. We have a button down here. We can also access it by going to home and then swiping across the screen until we get that little setup button there. For the dash cam settings, we'll go into vehicle and then into dash cam. Now we've got a number of different menus to go over here. But first, I'm going to skip right down to the bottom so I can talk a little bit about the SD card. So we're going to scroll right down here and open the SD card settings. So a couple things right off the bat just gives us some information. The SD card status, saying it's in good condition, like we're ready to record, there's no issue with the memory. And then the SD card slot location, which you can see here is in the glove box. Now if we scroll down further in the SD card menu, we see we've got two options: disconnect the SD card and format the SD card. So when we're storing footage, taking the SD card out of the vehicle to offload it to your phone or to a laptop, we have to disconnect the SD card so we can safely remove it without wrecking any of the footage that's on there. Then when you're putting the SD card back into the vehicle, you're going to want to format the SD card, reset it once you have all your video files safely saved on a different device. And that's just going to make sure that it's ready to record and that you're not having to deal with any pre-recorded footage. But it's not required to remove and offload footage. So if no events have occurred that you're wanting to save or review, you can just leave the SD card in there. It'll keep on recording over top. Now we're just going to scoot around to the other side and I'll show you where to access the SD card and what that looks like. So if your SD card has not been accessed before, there will be a little piece of tape over top of it. I'm just going to remove that, and there we are. We're going to use our fingernail just to push on it, and then it's going to eject. So there it is, our tiny little micro SD card. It says Hyundai on it, and this is a 64 gigabyte SD card. That 64 gigabyte micro SD card that comes with the vehicle, you can eject and plug into a dongle. I'll show some on screen right now. They're pretty cheap. You could plug that right into your phone or into a laptop and offload the footage just like you would from a USB drive. If you decide to purchase your own extra micro SD card, remember the minimum is going to be 32 gigabytes and the maximum is going to be 512 gigabytes. All right, so next up, we're going to get into some of the other settings for our dash cam. First up, we have recording options. There we see on-wheel driving, on-wheel parked, motion detected while parked, driving events, parked events. But then we have some other things. Audio recording, display information stamps. So right now, it's set just to record video. We're gonna have to turn on audio recording if we want it to record video and audio at the same time. Then below that are display information stamps. And it's kind of cool. There's a lot of options we can select. Time, speed, gear, turn signal, location, and event detection sensitivity, which is another important thing we'll get into right away. Up next, we have recording time. Parked recording by default set to the max at 20 hours. After 20 hours, it's just gonna stop recording. Event recording time. All right, so if an event occurs, someone say hits your vehicle, the recording time right now as it's set will record 10 seconds before that happened and 10 seconds after that happened. We can adjust this if we want to 20 seconds before and even more after, right? Below there, we have time-lapse recording, time and interval. Here we just have 3 options. 1 second in total, this will be the total length of the recording, which is a 20-minute long time lapse. 2 seconds for 40 minutes and 5 seconds for 100 minutes. And the length of the total video is gonna be that value on the left. So that's gonna be 1 second, 2 seconds, or 5 seconds. Next up, our event detection sensitivity. We'll head in here. This is just a couple of sliders that determine how likely it is that the dash cam will record an event that happens. Like if someone hits your car or if maybe just a bird flies by and you wanna know about that. If you want it to record absolutely every little thing that happens, as much as as sensitive as it can possibly be, you're gonna wanna turn these all the way up. If you find you live in a busy area or people are always walking near your vehicle, it's recording too often, you could just turn that down. Here we have display settings. So up to preference, you can adjust the recording angle of your dash cam, so you can just lower that a little bit or increase that a little bit at the front and rear. And there you have it. That's our dash cam tutorial. If you did have any other questions, please let me know in the comments down below. Again, my name is Zach here at Birchwood Hyundai. We're located at 2420 McPhillips Street in Winnipeg, Manitoba. If you're in the area, you can come on down and I can give you a tutorial in person as well. Thanks for watching.